Good evening, Saroja ma'am. Do you want to talk few words? Okay. I think Saroja ma'am is busy. Let me. Okay, masters, welcome back to our CCC book club. As you all know that we are reading this, The Third Eye, that is the book name which we are reading. So let me just give you a small recap before we go into our session today. Yeah. Joshua, can you spotlight me? Yeah, thank you. So, yeah. So this book named Third Eye. So whose life journey is it? It's about Lobsang Rampa, a great meditator. So we are seeing his life journey. So his life, I mean, in this book, it started from the year when he is 4 years old. So this journey has begun 100 years back. I mean, this everything, whichever I'm going to say, has happened 100 years back in Tibet, in Lhasa. Okay. So this 4 years old boy named Lobsang Rampa. So he had trouble with many different things. One of the thing is his horse. He was unable to ride his pony. He was he was not keen about it. He was brought up by his father and mother, and he had a sister named Yashodhara. He also had an elder brother, Paljo, who passed away when he was younger. So, and when during like all his physical, I mean, like owning, like riding pony, and then learning some tactics like from about judo, that it's kind of a physical skill which he needs to know to so that he can defend him from anyone else. So these are the things, and we also seen that he how his house was, and how was his schooling, and what were the physical activities which he liked. Then we also saw like there was a big procession about his what he is going to like. This procession was about his how to predict his future by astrologers. This was a big thing in Lhasa during those times. So after a huge
Australia and Melbourne.
let me just put
It is in opposite.
okay. So yeah. So he had this kind of ritual which was happening. It was a big thing. So it was a ceremony. So all the different, his cousins, friends, family friends, all have come here, have come to this ritual. And then we had seen that the astrologers predicted that his future is going to be a priest surgeon. So he has to leave his house and go to Lamasery and become a monk so that he can become a priest surgeon. Okay, so with that he left his home, and then he had to undergo an endurance test, like whether he can survive in this lamasery, because it's not an easy task to be as lama. It's a hard thing. So there was some kind of test. Then he got through in this test, and then later later we are seeing like how his lifestyle in Lamasery. So we have seen like his day starts at midnight at 12 o'clock, and then until 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock there will be some kind of a prayer, and then again 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock, again after 1 to 1:30, or like 1:30 to 4 o'clock they will sleep. Again at 4:15 they have there's again a prayer, a kind of service prayer, and then at 5 o'clock they'll have their breakfast. At 6 o'clock they will start their study, and 6 o'clock they'll start their study, and then 6 to 12 o'clock they will study for then study for 3 hours or something. Then again they'll have their a service thing where they need to do the service for 1 hour. Then they'll have their lunch. Then they'll go and take some physical rest. That's it, I think. Yeah, and I think we have covered till physical rest for 1 hour. Then again, they will start their studies for 5 hours. So later, so I think we have stopped there. So with that, let me go ahead and share the screen. Let me know if you can view my screen, masters. Thanks, Heather. Yeah. Thank you. So, okay. So I've stopped there, isn't it? So yeah, at 3 o'clock, they would have their rest. And so at 4, after this rest, we return to our studies. Yes. So we stopped yesterday till here. So now let's see. So after 4 o'clock, at 4 o'clock, they start their study. This was the dread period of the day. 5 hours without a break. 5 hours when we could not leave the room for anything without incurring the severest penalties. We have seen this one as well. Yes, let me just go through briefly. Our teachers were quite free with their stout canes. They tackled the punishment of offenders with real enthusiasm. Only the badly pressed or most foolhardy pupils asked to be excused when punishment on one's return was inevitable. They're saying like in this 5 hours of study hours, so they are not supposed to take any kind of break. If they wanted to take break, then there'll be a punishment. Whatever it is going to be certain. That's what it is. Okay. Our release came at 9 o'clock when we had the last meal of the day. So 9 o'clock, they'll have the last meal. Again, this was butter, tea, and sampa. So you have to remember, masters, their staple food is the butter tea and sampa. Sometimes, only sometimes, we had vegetables. Usually that meant sliced turnips or some very small beans. He's telling like, usually it's butter tea and the sampa, our staple food, but only very it's unusual that sometimes, very sometimes, that's what he's saying, only sometimes we had vegetables. That too, what kind of vegetables? Turnips and small beans. Okay, they are raw, but to hungry boys, to hungry boys, they were very acceptable. So he's telling like, those vegetables, turnips and small beans, were raw. It was not cooked. But as we are hungry, so it was acceptable, means we could eat it. It was good for us. On one unforgettable occasion, he's telling now, let's see, what is it? He's telling there is one unforgettable occasion when I was 8. So now you can see his age is 8 years. So when did he start Lama? When did he came into the Lama and got into admission? When before turning 7, that is before his birthday, like one day before his birthday, he came and then he got admitted into Lama after his birthday, like after second of his birthday, I guess. Yes. So we had some pickled walnuts. So one for when I was 8, we had some pickled walnuts. Pickled walnuts means kind of, it will be fermented in salt and with some kind of spices. You all know pickles, isn't it? That is what. These are walnuts. They would have pickled these walnuts. I was particularly fond of them, having had them often at home. Now, foolishly, I tried to an exchange with another boy. He to have my spare robe in exchange for his pickled walnuts. He's telling like, what happened? See, he's telling it's foolish. It's foolishness of me at 8 years. This is my foolishness because I tried to work an exchange with another boy. He's telling like, he has made a deal. Okay, what is the deal? He had to have my spare robe in exchange for his pickled walnuts. The other boy had a pickled walnut. Well, what Lobsang Rampa got, he ate it. He wanted one more. So he said like, okay, deal. He made a deal with his friend. Normally we make some deals with our friends when we want something, isn't it? That's how the same way this boy is also making. And he made a deal with his friend saying like, okay, I'll give my spare robe, like he to have my spare, like that boy wanted his spare robe, means spare means which he's not using, which he has like, okay, this robe can be useful in future. So that is what he kept for it. The spare robe, which he's not doing, he's telling like, this boy is telling, give me that spare robe. If you want this pickled walnut, you have to give me my spare robe. Okay. The disciplinarian herd. We all know that while eating the food, they'll be chanting and one would observing, a disciplinarian would be observing. So yeah, the disciplinarian head and I was called to the middle of the hall. The disciplinarian heard and I was called to the middle of the hall. So he called Lobsang Rampa to come and stand and made to confess my sin. Confess means like, okay, tell me, like reveal or admit what you've done. So made to confess my sin. As a punishment for greediness, I had to remain without food or drink for 24 hours. So they did. So he is telling like, this is, so here he did reveal what has happened. And as a punishment, because greediness is also one kind of, it's a kind of emotion, isn't it? It's like you feel like, llamas are not supposed to have any kind of these kind of emotion. I mean, this kind of feelings in them, like greediness. They are not supposed to have this. That is why, do you remember, masters, like even they will sleep nakedly because to overcome this humility or the shyness. So if they're doing such if they're going for such thing, so they can't bear this greediness. Okay, that is why to overcome this greediness, they told like this is a punishment for you. Like we are not going to give you any food or drink for 24 hours. My spare robe was taken from me, as it was said that I had no use for it. They're telling like even my spare robe which I had was also taken away from me, having been willing to barter it for that which was not essential. He's telling like because it was not essential for me, so they also took that one. So I did not. So I lost my this thing like because of this pickle walnut. This was the instance which has happened. That is what he's saying. At 9:30 we went. So at 9 o'clock there will be the food is served. 9 o'clock the last meal. Okay. At 9:30 we went to our sleeping cushions, bed to us. No one was late for bed. I thought the long hours would kill me. I thought that I should drop dead at any moment, or that I would fall asleep and never again awaken. He's telling like, okay, at 9:30, like we went to our sleeping room, we went to our beds. They used our sleeping cushions for their bed as well, isn't it? So no one was late for it because they're all very tired by that time. Okay, at first, I and the other new boys used to hide in corners for a good dose. He's telling like at the beginning, at the starting of this, when they entered this lamasery, they used to hide in the corners so that they could sneak out and have some little more sleep. After quite a short time, I became used to the long hours and took no notice at all of the length of the day. That's what like when we get used to it, it takes some time to get adjust to that to get adjust to this new things, whatever it is. It might be time or it might be different things in our life, but everything it requires time. As with time, we will learn and our body get used to it. We will get our mind also get habituated to it. So that is what he's telling. Like after few days, like I was able to easily like be away for this long hours. It was just before 6 in the morning. So now let's see, it was just before 6 in the morning when, with the help of the boy who had awakened me, I found myself in front of the Lama Mingyar Dondup's door. Remember, masters, I've told you that he's an like he has a special role in this book, isn't it? So now at 6 o'clock in the morning, he was in front of in front of the door of who Lama Mingyar Dondo. So okay, although I had not knocked, he called for me to enter. So during this phase, so he has told about what his daily routine is. Then he's telling, so it all is coming again to the point where he started. Like he is supposed to wake up and go and meet this this master Mingya Dondo. So that is what he again came back to the main point. Although I had not knocked, he called for me to enter. So he's saying, Lobsang is telling like, I did not knock at all. I did not knock the door, but he called me. Like he was Mingya Dondo was telling, okay, come in. Like that's what he said. His room was a very pleasant one, and there were wonderful wall paintings. Some of them actually painted on the walls and others painted on silk and hanging. So he's telling this and that there were beautiful paintings and everything over there. That's what he's telling. A few small statues were on low labels. They were of gods and goddesses and were made of jade, gold, and cloison. He's telling there were also statues of gods made of different kind of metals, jewels. Okay, a large wheel of life also hung upon the wall. So there was a wheel of life. There was also it was there on the wall. The Lama was sitting in the lotus attitude on his cushion, and before him, on a low table, he had a number of books, one of which he was studying as I entered. He's telling like there were he was sitting in this how we sit for a comfort in a lotus attitude means how we sit for like when we sit on the ground for our meditation post, that meditation we sit in this posture, isn't that is called lotus attitude. Okay, before him on a low table. He had a number of books, one of which he was studying as I entered. So he was studying a book when he entered, and this table was very low, like a study table, which you use for studying. I mean, when you sit on the floor, that's you can imagine like that. Okay. Sit here with me, Lobsang, he said. We have a lot of things to discuss together. But first, an important question to a growing man. Have you had enough to eat and drink? No one ever asked Lobsang Rampa, isn't it this question? Have you had enough to eat and drink? No one ever had. This is an interesting question. You can sense how this master is. Yes, we have a lot of things to discuss, but so this is what he's telling. We have a lot of things, but before this is the question he asked. This is like when we can feel like when our master, like if we feel like we can sense like how the master is with this kind of questions. I assured him that I had. So what is the question he asked? Mingya Dondo, have you had enough to eat and drink? No one has asked Lobsang Rampa until now that question. Okay, the Lord Abbot has said that we can work together. He's telling like the Lord Abbot means he is the in charge of this lamasery. He's telling the head of this lamasery. He's telling like you can work to we both can work together. We have traced your previous incarnation and it was a good one. They are telling like before your birth, we know what you are. So we have traced it. They were able to trace what he was in the earlier life. How interesting is it, masters? We do not know what we were in our earlier lives. Okay, so this is what, see, now we want to redevelop certain powers and abilities you then had. You then had means like in your previous life, you had certain kind of powers and abilities, means you had some kind of strengths which no one had. So he's telling like these kind of things you had in your previous, you then had means in your previous life, he's referring to. In the space of a very few years, we want you to have more knowledge than a lama has in a very long life. We have talked about this point earlier also. Is it in masters? So we've told like, okay, Lobsang Rampa has been told by Abbot, Lord Abbot as well. What did he say? Like, you have to study more, and so that like you will learn more than a lama will study in his very long life. So that is what again they are saying here. Means now his master is saying, Lama Mingya Dondo. He paused and looked at me long and hard. Who is he? Lama Mingya Dondo, his master. He paused, means took a break and looked at me, means he was looking at Lobsang Rampa like him, staring at him like this for some time. His eyes were very piercing. All men must be free to choose their own path, he continued. He's telling like, oh, so everyone should have given the freedom to choose their path. He continued by saying that he's continued. Your way will be hard for 40 years if you take the right path. Listen, masters, 40 years, he's like his Lobsang Mingya Dondop is saying like your way will be hard for 40 years. If you take a right path, always you will have a choice whether you can take this way or that way. If you take this way, you will learn something. If you take that way, you will learn something. So now Mingya Dondop is telling like there is a right path. He's referring a path as a right path. If you take a right path, it will be hard path for 40 years. He continued. Okay. Your way will be hard for 40 years if you take the right path, but it will lead to great benefits in the next life, he's telling. But remember, like if you take this path, though it is tough for 40 years, but in the next life, it is beneficial. The wrong path now. What is the wrong path? The wrong path now will give you comforts, softness, and riches in this life. He's telling the wrong path. There are two paths now. The right path is this, the wrong path is this. Wrong path is telling in this wrong path, you will get comfort, means luxury, you can enjoy, softness, and riches in this life. He's telling like you can be rich and not known, you can be soft, means no need to work very hard. but you will not develop, he's telling. But you will not develop. You and you alone can choose. He's telling like, you have these two paths, so only you can choose. He stopped and looked at me. So now he stopped whatever the conversation is happening, whatever whatever he's telling to Lobsang Rampa. So he stopped that and he started looking at Lobsang Rampa. Okay. Sir, I replied, my father told me that if I failed at the lamasery, I was not to return home. He's telling like, sir, my father made it clear that if I fail in at lamasery, so I can't go home. So there is no path, there is no choice for me, he's telling. How then would I have softness and comfort if I had no home to which to return? That's what I explained. And who would show me the right path if I choose it? Okay. So he's telling like, so who will help me if I want to choose it? Choose the right path. He smiled at me and answered, have you already forgotten? So he's telling like, his master is telling, have you forgotten what I've told? What did he say? We have traced your previous incarnation. Incarnation means your previous life birth. What was this? Yours? We have already traced it. If you choose the wrong path, the path of softness, you will be installed in a lamasari as a living incarnation. He's telling like, even the wrong path if you take, there is like, you will be installed as lamas and living incarnation. In a few years, will be an abbot in charge. He's telling like abbot means like the head of the lama series. There'll be few abbots for the lama series so that they can get in charge of one wings, like different. There'll be different kind of divisions, isn't it? Like for prayers, for different thing to look about the lama series. There'll be different abbots because one abbot can't look everything. So she's telling like, there'll be in few years, you'll be an abbot in charge. Your father would not call that failure. So he's telling like, even if you take this wrong path, you'll become a head of the lamasari, that is abbot. He called as abbot. So that means your father will not call that as failure. Something in the way he spoke made me ask a further question. So this made Lobsang Rampa to think and to ask. So he got a question. Then would you consider it a failure? Means he's asking, Lobsang Rampa is asking his master, that is Mingya Dondo. Okay, so even if I take a wrong path, I'll become an abbot. So if I take a right path, I had to be on a hardship for 40 years. So taking the wrong path, do you think it's a failure? So let's see what his master's reply is. Yes, he replied. Knowing what I know, I would call it a failure. He's telling, yes, if you take the wrong path, though you might become an abbot, but I call it as a failure. And who will show me the way? Lobsang Rampa is asking, then who will show me what is the right path is? I will be your guide if you take the right path. But you are the one to choose. No one can influence your decision. He's telling, if you want to take this right path, so then I will be the guide. Mingya Dondo will be the guide for Lobsang Rampa. Then he's telling like, now I have explained both of these paths. Now it's your choice to decide. I looked at him, stared at him, and liked what I saw. A big man with keen black eyes, a broad open face, and a high forehead. Yes, I liked what I saw. He's telling like, okay, let's see further. Although only 7 years of age, I had a hard life and met many people and really could judge if a man was good. So he's telling like, so when masters asked like, okay, you have to decide your decision. So Lobsang Rampa looked at him and he was looking at his master like, so what a beautiful, I mean, it's not about his only the way, the physical appearance, masters, you have to see like this man, like when you see this connection, you'll be able to feel the connection, master. That is what he's saying. His master has keen black eyes, his eyes was black, and he has a broad face, high forehead, And he's telling, yes, what I saw, I like it, he's telling. So he's telling, like, even with 7 years of old age, so I'm only 7, but I could judge, I could really judge who was good. Sir, I said, I would like to be your pupil. Pupil means disciple. I would, or a student. I would like to be your pupil and take the right path. He's telling, like, because he was in love with his, love means he was in, with reverence, with respect. He had so much of respect because he was able to make that connection with his master. So he said, like, yes, I want to become your student, and I want to take this right path, even though how hard it is. That is what I added somewhat ruefully. Ruefully means like with regret. What was it? I suppose, but I still don't like hard work. He's telling, I want to take this right path, but you know what? I still don't like hard work, whatever it is. So now what happened? His master, Mingya Donda, laughed. He started laughing. Why did his master laugh? And his laugh was deep and warming. Lobsang, Lobsang. None of us really like hard work, but few of us are truthful enough to admit it. Okay, so they are saying, like, none of us, none of us what? So give me a minute, masters. Another child is coming. Okay, yeah, thank you. So he's telling, like, none of us like hard work. So only few of us, will admit that truthfully that we don't like it. Yes, he looked through his papers. We shall need we shall need to do a little operation to your head soon to force clairvoyance. Clairvoyance, we have described that it is what is going to happen in future. That is means clairvoyance. So then we will speed your studies hypnotically. Hypnotically means like it's a kind of where your body will be in a sleep mode, but still your mind will be active. You will be able to take it without even conscious. Also, you'll be able to grasp the whatever the studies it is. That is hypnotically. We are going to take you far in metaphysics as well as in medicine. Okay. I felt a bit gloomy, more hard work. Gloomy means we all know it's sad. So he felt a bit little more sad, more hard work he felt. It seemed to me that I had to work hard all my 7 years, and there seemed to be little play or kite flying. So he's telling, like, all these 7 years I had worked hard, now again more work hard. I had played very little, and that too he's fond of kites. We all know, isn't it? The Lama seemed to know my thoughts. His master can read his mind. Oh, yes, young man. He's telling, oh, yes, young man, there'll be much kite flying later. The real thing, man lifters. Okay, there he says man lift. Let's see what it is when it comes. Okay, we are now, as of now, as you can see, like there is much more, like the kite flying is going to come in further. Okay, but first we must map how best to arrange these studies. He turned to his papers and riffled through them. Means he was turning at his papers and he was checking and adjusting them. Let me see, 9 o'clock until 1. He's telling, like, he's fixing the time so that they both can work together. Okay, and yes, that will do for a start. He's telling 9 to 1 will be good. Okay, let's start it. They have fixed this time. Come here every day at 9 instead of attending service. So he's telling, like, at 9 o'clock you come here, don't attend the service, you come here. We will see what interesting things we can discuss starting from tomorrow. Have you any message for your father and mother? I am seeing them today, giving them your pigtail. Pigtail, we all know that the some small bunch of hair, they have cut him, isn't they have cut that pigtail before shaving his head, before and giving a name as a when he was accepted as a monk. So he's telling, I'm going to see your father and mother. Do you have any message? Do you want to say something to your parents? I was quite overcome. When a boy was accepted by a lamasery, his pigtail was cut off and his head shaved. The pigtail would be sent to the parents, carried by a small acolyte. Acolyte means small disciple, as a symbol that their son had been accepted. This is normally a process where, like, when to tell their parents that you are, so when they are handing the pigtail means like that is an that it will say that like your son is accepted into a lamasery. That what it confirms. So it normally so pigtail, not everyone, like masters, big masters, they'll not go take this pigtail. So normally it will be sent by a small disciple. Okay. Now the Lama Mingya Dondo was taking my pigtail to deliver in person. That means, so he's telling like that mean that he had accepted me as his own personal charge, as his spiritual son. He's telling like this is a really important, masters, you have to listen to it. So it's like this kind of relationship it is going to be. It's a, like, means he's Lama Mingya Dondo, he is taking a personal charge, means he is as Lobsang Rampa is being accepted as a spiritual son. This Lama is a very important man, a very clever man, one who had most enviable reputation throughout Tibet. So he's telling like this man, he has Lama Mingya Dondop has a very good reputation throughout the Tibet. I knew that I could not fail under such a man. He's telling like, I will not fail under this kind of man. He's telling, I'm very pretty sure that I can achieve my goal. That morning, back in the classroom, I was the most inattentive people. So he's telling like that day in the classroom, I was not at all listening to the class. I was okay. My thoughts were elsewhere. Means I am thinking somewhere else. And the teacher had ample time. Ample time means lot of time and opportunity to satisfy his joy in punishing at least one small boy. He's telling like so. This teacher had so much time, so he was able to punish at least one boy. It all seemed very hard, the severity of the teachers. So it was very hard, okay. But then I consoled myself. That is why I came to learn. Remember, master, that is what we have to practice in our life. Sometimes even we see many things happening in our life. Like we would see like, why should I do this homework all the time? I could play like someone else, like other friends. You will keep comparing yourself with others. You have to remember like your life purpose is different and your friend's life purpose is different. We are not same. Otherwise we could have not have taken birth. Okay. So when whatever your task is, you have to do with 100% whatever you have. Like that's what he's telling here. I consoled myself. That is why I came. He's telling me that is why I took this birth. It's okay. He's consoling, he's accepting, he's consoling means he's soothing himself. So I came here to learn. That is why I reincarnated. That is why I took this birth. Although then I did not remember what it was that I had to relearn. I did not know what I have to learn in this life. I don't remember what I have to, but I know that I came to this life to learn. Okay. So we should also be very clear, masters, on this thing. So even everyone would come to this life to learn something. Okay. That is the main purpose, to learn. Okay. We firmly believe in reincarnation in Tibet. So it's telling like in Tibet, we believe that we are in the previous life births. We believe that when one reaches a certain advanced stage of evolution, evolution means in the development of their lifestyle, okay, one can choose to go to another plane of existence or return to earth to learn something more. He's telling like we believe in this life after life. So and as life after life, that is what he's telling. Okay. Now it may be that a wise man had a certain mission. Listen carefully to this. It may be that a wise man had a certain mission in life, but died before he could complete his work. So sometimes what happens, we will have certain kind of goal, but without accomplishing that goal, we would leave our body. In that case, so we believe he can return to complete his task, providing that the result will be of benefit to others. Okay. Very few people could have their previous incarnations traced back. So it's all about the previous lives, like they had like they had born, they had their life even not only with this, I mean, at the present moment, even before lives, I mean, they had life even before this particular body. Earlier also they would have born and they would have died. That's what it means, reincarnation and everything. So it just remember, like it's not very confusing, Master. It's like only like to think that okay, we would have born sometime earlier also, just like that. Think like that. That's it. That's it. That is what reincarnation or everything, that is what it means. It's a simple word, like we would have been present even during different phases, like in earlier years also. But we do not have that memory as of now. Okay. I think it's 8:47, Master. So I think I'll stop here so that I can we can take the feedback and questions. Okay. Let me stop the share. Yes, Hetal, yeah, you can unmute yourself. You can unmute yourself. You can't? Let me unmute. Let's unmute. Yes, Hetal, can you now?
Yes, ma'am. Now ma'am, what is meaning of Abbott?
Abbott, he is like a head in the lamasery, who will have this like priest, who head priest for this monks. So there'll not only be, I mean, there'll be few head priests in this lamasery, so they can take in charge of different sections in the lamasery.
Okay, Master, ma'am, what is the why should they should give the pickle to their parents?
So that like when they, because their parents do not know, right, what is happening inside lamasery. No one or all like apart from the monks or any kind of interaction where like whoever, like only few people will be able to enter into the lamaseries. Normal people, they'll not be entertained, they'll not be allowed. So what they'll do, like okay, if the parents will be they will be thinking, if my son has accepted, if my son has been accepted into lamasery or not, they will be wondering, isn't it? So to get the confirmation, okay, your son got admission into our lamasery, so they will send this pigtail, so that to make sure like his parents also are aware of it.
Rampa takes the right path or wrong path?
Let's see. What did he say? He'll say like, I will take the right path and only. Why? Because he liked his master a lot. Isn't it? Because he liked his master, he was so fond of his master. He felt like he was so good. Because has anyone has asked Lobsang and Rampa that did you eat, drink anytime? No. So with that one question, he was able to connect to his master. Okay.
Ma'am, how could his master know that in his previous birth what happened and all?
So they have some kind of procedure, it seems. They will tell later, so we will see that. They'll be, it is associated with time and cost, it seems. Like they should spend some money and as well as time to trace who was this, because astrologers predicted that he is going to be a priest surgeon. So so they have traced. They did not say how they have traced. There's some kind of they will have their own process. I mean, what is their procedures to trace it.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, you explained it very well.
Thank you, Hetal. You listened very well as well. Thank you for asking questions. Any others? Yes, Mukul? You can unmute, yeah.
Great explanation, and thank you for doing the class. And also I have a question.
Thank
Did Lama Mingya Donda do his this correction for his head or something?
What correction for his head? Yes, we are going to see that later. Yes, it's going to come in few sessions. You will see they are going to do some kind of operation for his head. What it is, why it is for, we will discuss in the upcoming session. So it is quite interesting.
So he didn't do it yet?
No, he didn't do it yet. He's telling that we have to do it so that we'll be able to get this clairvoyance. Clairvoyance means you can sense the future. Sometimes we will also see oh, something is going to happen. We get this kind of intuitions, right? We call it as intuitions. So we will be, for them, they can see it as, they can see clearly. Instead of a thought, they'll be able to see it. So that kind of thing, they are going to do some kind of operation. Let's see in our upcoming sessions. They'll describe.
I asked because he was not concentrating in class. So I thought he would have put it so he could
no, he was not concentrating in his class because he had this discussion with his master. And he was thinking okay, because now he told to his master that I'm going to go on this right path. And what is the right path? He has to work hard for 40 years. So he's telling, oh my goodness, I have to work hard. That is what he was thinking.
So I'm it is actually also pretty surprising why Lord Abbot is actually that's actually a good part, because being Lord Abbot, but I know, but the right part is the right part, and even if there are many luxuries on the way, so you have to suffer for victory, You have to suffer.
Yeah, I understand, because whatever we feel right for this moment may not be right. When you see after 50 years or 100 years, you might feel I should have not done that. I should have taken this way. Probably it would have, I would have learned little more, something like that. We don't know what is right path and wrong path. So, but his master is saying this is right and that is wrong. So according to his master, that is what. Yeah.
So what's right, it's right, But
yeah, according to his master,
can't always rely on astrology these days. But maybe in the past, maybe astrology is really correct. Maybe in the present, they might have adjusted how to do astrology, and it might not be so correct.
Yeah. It was 100 years back what it was happening. So then there was no this kind of technologies and all this. So let's see what it is. Yes. So that was in his life what was done and what was there. I mean, because that time astrologers, whatever they say, they will follow only that during and not everyone were an astrologist there. There were only, I mean, few astrologers who are trained very well, and they were following those astrologers because whatever they predict, it was 100% happening. That is why they have been they were predicted. I mean, his future was predicted by them. Yeah.
Once again, very well done. And maybe I should give a chance to somebody else.
Thank you, Mukund. Now, Aradhan.
Hello?
Yes. Yes, Aradhan.
In 100 years back, there wasn't any cushions, no?
There were cushions. That's what he's telling. 100 years back, 1900s. So it's 100 years back. Cushions means cushions. It's not the way you are thinking what the cushions we have now, but there will be a different kind of material, different kind of thing. So it's like, yeah, but not as good as what we have as of now, but you can just compare. Like yesterday, I've told probably Hetal about this, because as we think about like a pillows and two pillows next to next, so that like you can compare, you can get an idea, but not exactly the way it will be like that, but you can just imagine.
Okay.
Yeah. Any more questions from our session today?
Yes. What is his master's name?
Master, his Mingya Dondu.
Mingya Dandu.
Dondu.
Okay.
Okay. What else you have? Any other questions?
No one.
Good. Thank you, Aradha. So, yeah, okay, we have, okay. Okay, we have our last. So, ready for this questions, masters? You like this question parts, isn't it? Yes? Let's see. What are questions I can ask? So, what was the name of his master? Easy one, but just want to make sure you all remember it. Okay, I saw Mukund raised his hand first, so let me give a chance for Mukund. Can't you unmute?
I know you said this like 3 times, and everyone should remember. Like Joshua remembers, Aradan remembers, Hater remembers, but it's still Lama Mingya Donda.
Yes.
Is
good
it
job.
Dondup or Donda?
Dondup. Pondup. Dondup. Okay. Next question is, so why do you think that Lama Mingya Dondup was like, do you think he was good? He was a good person, or was he a strict leader? What do you think? Next question to Hetal. Hetal, unmute yourself. You can't. Why? I did not unmute.
Yes, ma'am, now I can.
Okay.
Ma'am, the answer is he was a good person.
Yes, right. 100%. Thanks, Hetal. So was next question. Was Lobsang Rampa was happy that he was going to work hard, or was he feeling gloomy? Yes, Joshua. Hey, Joshua, you can unmute. Yeah.
Little bit.
Sorry.
Little bit.
Little bit what? Little bit happiness
Gloomy.
or sadness? Gloomy? Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Thank you. So, Joshua, how did you feel today's session?
Super.
Super. So, what did you like in today's session?
Now we know a little bit deeper about how he's thinking.
It's getting interesting.
Now we know that he doesn't like that much hard work.
Yeah. So,
And he was a little bit spoiled.
Do you like hard work?
A little bit too.
Little bit too. Okay, good.
Finish.
Okay, I see Hetal saying no. How about give me Aradhan? Do you like hard work? Yes or no? Just had heads.
Yes,
Yeah.
I like hard work.
You like hard work. Mukon, do you like hard work?
Yeah, because when I write and not type, it makes me happy when I look at my writing. Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank
I-
you.
No,
To be more deeper, like hard work, just like thinking about it when being in the present, I don't want to do hard work in the present, but if you look at from in the past, you feel like that's really good. And like it's good to do that.
Mhm.
I'm
Thank
like
you.
Rampa and I don't like hard work. I
One
force,
second. Hetal, let him speak. Okay. Yes,
Ma'am,
Hetal.
Ma'am, I'm mostly like Rampa because I don't like hard work and I force myself.
Yes, we should all force ourselves. There is nothing wrong. Like not that's what he's telling, right? Not every like no one likes to do hard work all the time, but we have to force ourselves sometimes. What we are supposed to do, we have to do. Yes, yes, Aradhan, you are saying something. Yeah, go ahead.
If you do hard work, we'll get only the what we did hard work, that will get the goodness.
Yes, good.
So if you read well, we'll get good marks in exam like that.
Yes, yes, good job.
Madam, let's close it.
Yes, we'll close it. Okay, tomorrow let's see, you should all come together and let's see what is going to happen further. Okay, we'll meet tomorrow again at the same time. Okay, bye for now.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye.